Social in association with Pursue Fitness. I'm delighted to be joined by British featherweight champion Ryan Walsh. First of all, Ryan, how are you doing today?
Good, thank you. You've just caught me after a session, so yeah, it's always nice when you finished, had a little bit of grub. Yeah, feel good now.
Obviously here to discuss your upcoming fight, which will be in the Golden Contract tournament. I had actually a little bit of a think. I think it was last night, where the last time I spoke to you, you were hoping to do a sort of British World Boxing Super Series tournament, something similar to that. And it's kind of actually come about. Just first of all, your thoughts on that actually coming to fruition?
I think it's I'm buzzing with it, because at the end of my last fight I said I've not got many options at feather anymore. I either want to get a European into a world title, basically good fights, otherwise I'd go up. And it turns out MTK have delivered. They've given me the potential to fight 5 decent opponents, with the pot of gold at the end being the contract. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. I think it's a great idea, and we've got MTK doing this in 3 weights. I think this will follow through. I think it'll be more than that. There'll be, in the end, a lot of fighters we wanted to do. I think Super 6 a while back, the WSB, all things like that are good for boxing. It's something a little bit new, a little bit different, and yeah, it's good, it's exciting.
How do you assess the other fighters that are going to be in the tournament? Obviously, we're still waiting on more to join, but obviously the fighters that are in there so far?
The 5 that I've seen is an absolute mixed bag of everything. You've got southpaws, switchers, tall. You've got a couple of guys who've come up weights recently. It's got a bit of everything. The unknown with the Cuban-American lad. It's got everything. So it can be tricky, and I suppose for sparring, but I'm quite lucky. And it's something I want to prove that I'm good at, is being able to adapt. You get 1 week to know who your opponent is, but prior to that, you've got a lot of time to try and work with different things. My brother will come in handy for that, I'm sure. He can do a bit of everything, so that'll be really good. It's definitely going to be. I think if you look at the 5 that we can see now, it has got everything, and the experience range. So you've got fighters there who've only had 12 fights. You've got fighters who've had 20 odd with the Cubans. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting. The man who can adapt best will do well in this. Simple as that.
Obviously, it is early doors, and like I said, we're still waiting on 2 opponents. Who do you think those other 2 opponents could potentially be?
We've got a rough idea. I think I've got a rough idea of one. Another one I don't think will sign, who should sign. But for names, who I'd like to see in it, I'd like to see the European champion in it. That'd be good. I don't really know, really. I think Sky will get another fighter in if he can, and maybe I'd like to see, but like I said, another foreign opponent. Whether it's there was talk once about Luke Jackson being in this. I thought that'd have been a good one with his experience and things. We'll just see who they get.
Obviously, there is an interesting concept. That you won't be finding out who you fight until the week of the fight. That's pretty inconvenient, I suppose, for yourself. I think is the right way to put it. How do you, obviously, first of all, prepare for that, and how do you think that's going to first of all make it interesting, and how are you going to go about that?
It goes back to that, the man who can adapt, and I think with the experience I've got, and I've fought a lot of different styles, and I've got a brother who can mimic a lot of different styles, which is good. As far as sparring goes, we'll be off to Tenerife soon, so we'll try and take everything we can from we've got a few different fighters and styles in the gym that we use. I think I genuinely have said this to a few people now since it's been announced. I said I think they put this rule in to do it on the last week to stop people pulling out from me. If you look, I had 2 British title fights, mandatories, pull out on me, one after the other, and the second one they didn't go for the purse bid, but it's quite obvious if you know boxing. So I'm happy they put that rule in, because when you get to that stage a week before the fight, everyone knows I'm not pulling out. So that leaves the other 5 to make sure that when they get drawn on me, they don't pull out. So I genuinely think they put that in for this reason. If you look at my previous as British champion, I actually had 2 more British title fights, but they both pulled out. So what can you do?
You've also got Lee Wood, obviously, in the tournament, just to mention on him quickly, currently holds the Commonwealth title. Obviously, it's an opportunity for you to unify the Commonwealth title. Do you think, obviously, winning this tournament altogether, does that sort of help you push on to the next step, the sort of big break that you have been waiting for?
Definitely, it's the fighters as well. All these 5 fighters that I've seen, and there's another 2 to come, they're all decent fighters, they all have good records, they have... When you come through this, or at the end of this, you've had 3 decent title fights, you should be well ready to get what I expect you should be getting, which is a crack at one of the world titles, or certainly in a position for a final eliminator. And I think having ESPN on board with this, and so I think yeah, it should work out really well. It should work out really well, and plus with all these different styles, you all get to have a good look at each other before the fights, which is quite rare. I like that idea too. On the night off, you have 3 title fights on the night, and you get to watch a couple of them. So it's really good. I think Lee Wood's a very good fighter. He's one probably I know the most about. I think the wild card in this is this Cuban American lad. So he's the one I'm going to try and find some footage about. But he's the one I'd probably say, if I could fight, I'd probably want to fight him. I don't know nothing about him. I've not fought many foreign opponents, and you don't get bad Cubans. So he's definitely the wild card, the one that I know the least about.
So that's the person who you, if you had your choice, sort of,
This
say,
is
in
it,
the
yeah.
quarterfinals, you'd prefer to face
If it
him?
had been like the WSB and picked, I think I'd have picked him. I like the WSB for that, and I always admired when, I think when Usyk fought in it, he picked Hook straight away, and people were surprised, ex-world champion. And I think I'd have looked at that field and tried to pick the one I think is the most dangerous, and he is the most dangerous because of the unknown. For domestic ones, we've got some untested guys there, some guys coming up, all different types of styles. It depends what you like as well, but I've just fancy that with not knowing much about the Cuban, and yeah, I'd like to definitely test myself against the best, who I think to be the best, and I can have a look at the other guys and see what they're like.
Obviously, providing that you win the tournament, it will obviously catapult you straight into the world scene, or at least that's what we're expecting. How do you assess the world scene at featherweight?
I think it's one of the hottest divisions in boxing. Probably didn't get the exposure, maybe we haven't got the big mouth for it, but I think Josh Warrington, just having back-to-back wins prior to Galahad against 2 upsets against 2 of the better fighters in the division, such as Selby and Frampton. I can't give him props enough. I didn't fancy on either occasion. I backed against him on both. And then on the third one, when I finally backed with him, I thought he lost. I mean, punch for punch with Galahad. Although it's better for boxing that Josh gets to move on. It was a horrible close fight where, in a way, you're probably happy Warrington has done it. He's got the backing. He'll keep the torch alight. But I thought punch for punch and style, Galahad done really well. And then you go beyond that. I think that Gary Russell Jr. is a little bit, sets himself apart. You can get world champions, you get guys who can hold titles, belt holders, let's say, but then he's a little bit more. If he can get his own way, he was saying he wants to go up and challenge the other lads like Gervonta Davis and people like that. I like him. He's probably one of the fastest fighters I've ever seen. The fight with him and Lomachenko, wow. I've never seen so much speed, and that was a great fight. He only lost on split decision to Lomachenko, so that gives you an idea of how good he is. You got Leo Santa Cruz, which is a giant, really hard working. And then I'm trying to think of that. So we've got Josh at the IBF, Santa Cruz WBC, Leo, is he WBS? No, who's the WBR? I'm trying to think.
Valdez has moved up.
And Valdez has moved up. Well,
He's moved up.
so there's a vacant title there now.
Vacant title.
I rate Valdez as well. Young, hungry, comes to fight, and he really got my respect with fighting through a fight. I think for a long duration against Quigg with a bus draw. It's a cracking division, but I think having now you've said that, it's not got long in this division. Josh Warrington can't have long left. I know Gary Russell's on about moving up Leo. I don't know how he even makes the weight. He's huge, so as it stands, it's a very strong, good division. But I don't think he's got very long before they all move up, and the guys above them move up, as that's what happens with time. But it's a strong division. It'd be interesting to see. Have they got anyone for the WBR then?
I'm not sure if I'm getting mixed up, but I'm pretty sure I remember seeing Shakur Stevenson was meant to fight Valdez. And then
He's a very, very good fighter.
So now I think he's been mandated against someone who I can't remember off the top of my head.
Good fighter. I like him. I seen him fight Simonian or something like that, and he done really well with him. He's a young Olympian, isn't he? Tall, southpaw. He ain't easy for anybody. Another good fighter. Young as well, and I think he's part of the Crawford camp, so who better to be around than people like that and learn your trade, especially at that young age. So yes, it's a good division. He's another one. I can't see him staying at featherweight. He's huge, so no doubt he'll win his title and start going up the weights.
If you had your pick of any of the world champions, who would you choose to face?
The best, which is Leo. It's obviously the hardest. Yeah, you'd put him massive favourite. Yeah, he's gonna do whatever he's gonna do. But it's one thing wanting to be a world champion, but I also think for at this stage I'm at in my career, I want to fight the best. I want to know how good I was, and you soon find out when you fight the best. I've had one taste of it so far in my career, and I lost. I've come up short. We're not in the era of rematches, which is a shame because I always think every good match deserves a rematch. And I think I want to test myself against the best. They're all decent world champions, and if you beat them, you'd be able to say the world champion. But in my mind, I know where I think the best of the crop is. So in this position, right at this moment, the best of the crop is Gary Russell Jr. So he's the one who, if you can topple him, you know you're the best. Sometimes you don't even have to fight the other side. I beat the best, and I say you beat the best.
Moving away, we've got some great boxing fights that I'd like to get your view on.
Yeah.
Start with this weekend. We've got Sergey Kovalev versus Anthony Yarde for the WBO light heavyweight championship of the world in Russia. First off, what were your thoughts for that fight to take place in Russia?
I'm happy the fight's been made because I actually didn't think it was, and now it's been made in Russia. Full props to Yarde and his team for going over there. It's hard work, I think, whenever you're going away, and it's even harder when you've got a champion like Kovalev. Kovalev's a very good fighter. I think fights like this, more big fights nowadays, they go where the money is, so that's why it's happened in Russia. Someone stumped up the money to make it happen there, and it's great for boxing. It's good that boxing gets around the world. It's good. It's better for its global appeal. I think we've got a very good market at the minute with AJ, so I think a lot of people want to box in England. It's always got the best atmosphere, and our boxing fans are probably the best, travelling or at home.
How do you see that fight going this weekend? Can you get a prediction or breakdown of the fight?
Yeah, I think Yarde's got a horrible style for Kovalev at this point in his career because of his actions and switches and his reactions. I'm leaning towards Kovalev because I also think that can work, and as proved with, he lost 2 fights ago, didn't he? Then he avenged it. I just think Kovalev at home on his home turf, they're going to have to knock him out to win. I don't foresee a points win for Yarde. I just think Kovalev's edge, experience and style will be all wrong. We won a lot of money as a family on the Kovalev, on the Ward win. But I've watched it back, and I watched it on the night. On the night I think I had a draw, or in the room we thought we'd lost our money. He's beat one of the all-time greats in Andrew Ward, and I just think stylistically he's hard for anybody. He does a lot of good things. He's very strong, and it's a massive uphill challenge for Yarde because of his lack of experience too. Not just this guy's probably had more world title fights than he's had fights. I mean, he's only had 18, I believe, something like that. So full props for him. He's got his opportunity. Hopefully, I do hope for himself, Tundi and his whole gym, that he can pull it off. I hope he proves me wrong. It'd be good. But I think it's stacked against him with venue and the guy he's fighting. I mean, this guy's not just knocking people out. He's got a kill on his record. He's actually killed someone, and he impressed me with the way he dealt with Cleverly, because no, you don't do that to Cleverly. So, good luck to Yarde, but I don't foresee him pulling off the upset. I think it's a massive, really hard task.
People have obviously mentioned the possibility of Yarde winning. He obviously is the underdog in the fight. Where do you think that ranks for British boxing wins like in history?
Gotta be huge. That's why I love boxing, when things like when Ruiz just beat Yarde, it keeps boxing fresh. Like, it's always a 2-horse race, and stylistically Yarde has some very good things that will cause Kovalev problems. I just think fighting at home is going to give him all the advantages, going to give him all the boost. Yarde's going to have to adjust to their time zones and their weather, and it's just harder. If it had been in England, you might have been giving him a little bit more advantages, but this will rank up there as one of the big upsets in my mind. I'd see that as a huge upset. If you can go to the champion's backyard and beat him, and for me to beat him, he's going to have to knock him out. I don't foresee him winning on points. Even if he did beat him on points, I don't think they'll give it him on points. And that's not saying the Russians, it's just boxing in general. You go to another guy's patch, you're going to have to really, and he's a very, very good boxer. I think he's quite underrated. I like what he does. He's proved that he really did he hung with Andrew on the first fight, and I fancy him as one of the better all-rounders of our time. I think Andrew Ward's special. So if you can outbox him, which I thought he did in fight 1, well, that's a real uphill struggle for someone with such little experience. He hasn't got any amateur experience neither yet, so this is a real good test.
Next weekend, we've got, for a lot of people, pound for pound number 1, if not certainly around the sort of top 3, top 4. Vasily Lomachenko versus Luke Campbell. Thoughts on the fight?
Yeah, I've been asked this recently, so he's definitely my pound for pound, just because everything he's doing is just different. You shouldn't be able to have. Since his second fight, I think every fight's nearly been a world title fight. He's a phenom. The fighters he's fought, he's done brilliant. I think but this would be a bigger shock if Luke Campbell could beat Lomachenko, regardless of it being in England. That'd be a bigger shock than Yarde beating Kovalev. I mean, we've got the chance now in the next couple of weeks for two of the biggest shocks for me. I'd like to think I know a little bit about boxing. I certainly love boxing. I love watching it. Lomachenko's just got something. You've got world champions, you've got elite fighters, and then you've got these guys, these once-in-a-generation fighters who... The last time you seen this would have been Mayweather. The times before that you go through. This Lomachenko stands out. I massively rate him. He just finds ways to win. This won't be just a walkthrough though. It just won't. I don't think Lomachenko wanted to fight him anyway. When you get two guys with such good amateur pedigree, whatever happens in the fight, they can revert back to type. I think just the dimensions of Luke Campbell is never going to be easy. It's a massive lightweight, southpaw, keeps it long. I think he'll keep him honest for long periods of the fight, but I just think the relentless energy will see Lomachenko through. I think it'd be really good to watch two high boxing IQs against each other, because it will be technical, but Lomachenko just seems to always find a way, and his performance against Linares with one arm was just insane. And I think Luke's going to have to use everything he's learned to get through this fight. It'll be the hardest 12 rounds of his career. I think early on he'll do well. He'll have his more success early, keeping it long and keeping him away from him. But as the fight gets further in and it becomes more of a fight, Lomachenko will take over, and his energy and he's just relentless. He's one of the fittest fighters, one of the smartest fighters. I can't give him enough accolades. He's one of my favourite fighters to watch too. I watched him live and I was just proper wowed me. Some of the best footwork. Very, very good fighter.
Recently announced Ruiz versus Joshua 2 to take place in Saudi Arabia. Thoughts on it taken in Saudi Arabia? Obviously, there's been a lot of sort of backlash in the awakening of that news breaking. A lot of people not happy about it. Can you sort of understand the fans' point of view on that?
100%. When you've got a man who can sell out 80,000 comfortably, let's have it right. If the stadiums were 150,000, he'd sell them out. 200,000, properly sell them out. This guy's got appeal. AJ's got appeal. But this is a business. It's not a sport. It gets confused a lot of times for sport. And when you've got a site fee, which is the main thing, which I think in Saudi they must have paid a lot of money, because when you can demand 80,000 people, work out the site fee, you're looking at 18, 20 million. That's the site fee. Well, they're saying we'll put it wherever. And I do think with the money that they throw around, it's nothing to them to pay the 20, 25, whatever it is. And money talks in all sports, in all life, in all business. I can see why the fans are annoyed, and so they should be in a way, but money does rule it. They've paid for that site fee. I've been arguing with my older brother about this recently because he fancies the repeat, whereas I'm saying with the height advantage and the reach advantage Joshua has, he's proved he can keep little fights at bay like Povetkin, and I'm fancying him. And I've watched an interview recently where he done that 50-minute thing on Sky, and he's won me over with words. So let's just see if his actions can back up them words. I foresee him winning in a very. It'll be points. I don't think he'll have to knock him out. I don't think he'll even come to knock him out. I think he'll keep him at range. He's a very dangerous man, Ruiz, when you get close. And as he found out, he went for the finish and ended up getting finished. It took a while, but I am excited for it. Every good match deserves a rematch, and that's what we've got, a good rematch. It's going to be really interesting to see how he changes. You're going to have to make changes. You can't fight him. There's a certain range there where Ruiz is so dangerous, and if he can keep him long, I'm pretty sure he'll be able to outpoint him.
There was obviously also talks of Ruiz stating that the rematch hadn't been signed, Eddie Hearn coming back and saying that the contract was obviously for the original fight and that. Do you think it's Ruiz saying that he hasn't signed for the rematch in Saudi Arabia? Do you think that's sort of mind games of Ruiz?
Yeah, I do. I think the site fee in Saudi will keep that. Yeah, it's all mind games, definitely. It's not. I don't think that's real. They would never have got the fight where he's signing for a rematch, not against the Golden Goose, which is AJ, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. You did obviously mention that you watched a documentary, so I just want to ask you one quick question on that. Obviously, there's the past week where Anthony Joshua and Lennox Lewis have sort of been going at it over social media and together. Joshua calling him a clown. What are your sort of thoughts on that whole situation?
Just disappointed. We all have our times. I'm disappointed with the way it's come across. I don't see Lewis as vindictive or jealous of anyone. He was our last undisputed champion. He's the man, Lennox. There's no doubt about it. He'll stand the test of time. He's one of the top 3 heavyweights ever, in my opinion. I just think he had a bit of everything, and every loss he avenged with a knockout. You can only props that. AJ, I feel he feels this is what I was getting. He's been kicked when he was down, and he said he didn't respect him and that. Well, maybe not as a man and for the tweets and things. And there's a way to do it. Sometimes I don't think doing it publicly. I wonder if you could get hold of him yourself and tweet him or text him yourself. But I think sometimes as well he has one valid point. Lewis was in his time. This is now AJ's time. Sometimes you just got to try and back the younger ones. But it's all a bit bitter, innit? It's all a bit sore. He's just lost, and straight away he's getting kicked when he's down. That's what the feeling I think. I have no doubt in time that'll heal itself, and they'll regain respect for each other.
Also recently announced was Tyson Fury versus Otto Wallin. We'd obviously seen hints that it was coming to fruition for a while. Your thoughts on that fight?
Got to be dead honest with you, I've never heard of Otto Wallin in my life. I don't know who he is. I couldn't tell you a thing about him. I like to think I know a bit about boxing. I have no idea. I've never seen him fight. That's the first time I've heard his name. I did hear something about his new opponent. Fair play to Tyson. I think he's probably earned the right to have a few, not so much mega fights, but the fight we all want to see, and they're cooking it slowly, is the rematch, because that was a good first. Obviously, I think Tyson got well and truly robbed. That was history repeating itself. If anyone remembers the Lewis Holyfield first fight, tell me that wasn't. But the good thing with that, we got the instant rematch. With this, it's getting a little bit dragged out, and the sooner them two can get back in the ring, the better. Like I said, I don't know nothing about his opponent. I expect Tyson to be Tyson, get there, turn up ready, and outbox whoever's in front of him. And he's just one of the bigger, awkward, more skillful heavyweights we've had in this generation, and he just looks very hard to beat. How do you prepare for someone that long, that big, moving the way he moves?
Do you think it's good preparation for Tyson? Obviously, we're hearing rumours that he's going to fight, obviously, Wilder next in a rematch, rumoured to be sort of February time, I believe. Do you think Otto Wallin and Tom Swartz, is that good preparation for Tyson Fury?
Not in the sense of dimensions and fighter, but what he's doing is keeping the man in the gym. He's keeping him focused, and sometimes it's all the what you do. The actual fight isn't the main part for fighters like Tyson Fury. It's keeping him on that set routine, keeping him on the straight and narrow. So, in the actual fight sense, no. Swartz and this other guy who I don't even know, nothing like Deontay. But keeping him in the gym is the important thing. Keeping him moving. And this is the most active. Last time, he'd had one fight prior to fighting Deontay. This time he's going to have two, so he's going to be he theoretically should be in a twice as better fit position and fitness, but you get an even better performance, be able to move even better, I suspect. It's probably all about weight management. It's all about keeping him fresh, and I think with fighters like Deontay, ideally would like to see the rematch straight away, but he'll be in a better position now. He'll be able to. I think Tyson will do really well, but in the rematch, Deontay is going to know a little bit more than what he did before. He probably didn't realise how awkward Tyson is, and that come back with something else. I've got to give him his due. He resurrected. He looked dead to me. It was brilliant.
Just finally, confirmed to fight on the undercard is your former opponent Isaac Lowe. It was a rematch that obviously was scheduled for October last year, if I'm correct. Do you think we'll ever get the chance? You obviously said that good fights have rematches. I think most people will agree that it was a great fight between you and Isaac. Do you think we'll get the chance to see that rematch, obviously with you in this tournament and Isaac fighting mainly in America?
Well, he's one of the other fighters we expected in this tournament, so with him not going in this tournament, possibly not. Again, he's doing what's best for his career, business-wise. Whether we'll get to have the rematch, it looks less likely with him being under the card of Tyson. You know what? He's got to do what's best for his career. He's got to do what's best for business, and I was not good for business in that sense, I don't think. I'd have liked to have fought him. He had the opportunity to be in my mandatory. But it looks less likely now. Less likely, because when this was first put to us, he was one of the names. That was good. That would have sold really well. I'm sure our fans and their fans want to see that fight again. We'll just see with time. It's less likely, definitely less likely now.
Okay, well, Ryan Walsh, thank you very much for speaking to Boxing Social today.
Thank you.
Obviously, wish you the best for training camp. You said you were going to Spain, sorry?
Yeah, Tenerife. We always like to get a couple of months out there if we can. It's just good. It's just different. We're so lucky. We've got two homes, Norwich and two very good trainers. So I'm happy that I'm able to do that.
Good, yeah. I hope you enjoy the rest of your training camp.
Thank you.
Best of luck, and hopefully catch up with you soon.
Brilliant. Thank you, Chandler. Cheers, Matt. Thank you very much. Nice one.